Hello, my name is Lydia Law and I'm 21 years old, and this is my story of my life living with Trisomy 8. This documentary is about my genetic condition and how it affects my daily life. Now, I assume you are wondering not only what a genetic condition is, but also specifically what mine is. Now, a mini biology lesson for you all out there. I know already what chromosomes are, but looked up a definition in an average dictionary to make it as clear as possible for you to understand. Your body contains 23 pairs of chromosomes which contain your genes and DNA. This determines your genetic makeup. For example, if you have two X chromosomes, you are female, and if you have an X and a Y chromosome, you are male. Sometimes as a result of an extra chromosome, some people may look or act differently from what is considered to be normal. The physician J.L.H. Down, who died in 1896, gave his name to the condition Down syndrome, where an individual has an extra chromosome, number 21. Having an extra chromosome is called a trisomy, and I have the genetic condition Trisomy 8. Trisomy 8 is a genetic condition that means that I have an extra chromosome, number 8. Trisomy 8 can present itself in a complete extra chromosome, often referred to as 100%, which is usually fatal. However, I have proved this wrong, as I have been living with Trisomy 8 100% for the last 21 years. Usually, if the trisomy number is lower, the less chance there is of survival, and there is a much more common form of Trisomy 8 which only presents itself as a very small bit of an extra chromosome, which is known as a mosaicism, and I will be interviewing a person with the mosaic form of Trisomy 8 later. And in my case, the Trisomy 8 symptoms include slightly elongated face, a small lower jaw, some hearing impairment, although I do wear hearing aids. I was cross-eyed when I was younger, and I was cross-eyed until I had an operation to correct it. I have a short stature and a decreased body height. I developed scoliosis, and I have also had an operation to fix that, to put metal rods in my back. Rib abnormalities, although that was corrected when they sorted out the scoliosis in my back. I only have one kneecap, and the one I do have is not complete, so that's a bit of a weird fact about me. Limited joint mobility and campodactyly of the finger, which means that it's completely fixed in one position. Slow growth and development are other big factors, and I walked and talked much later than I should have done. But I'm still here, still developing, and I hope you enjoy my story. I've just woken up and now I've got dressed, but one of my daily struggles is that I can't always put my shoes and socks on by myself. So, and I can just hear my dad coming down the corridor. Dad, can you help me put my shoes and socks on, please?
Okay, coming. Hi Lydia.
Hi Dad. So, when did you learn that I had trisomy 8 and how did the news impact on you when I was...
That's a really interesting question because we didn't find out until a little while after you were born. Before you were born, your mum was having quite a lot of trouble with her pregnancy, and we were under the care of King's College Hospital. We even met the great Professor Nicolades, who was scanning us and checking up on what was going on. And the nearer it got to the birth, he was looking at the pictures and the scans, and he was saying, I think there's going to be something different about this child. Because way back in the early part of the process, when we'd had a scan, they discovered that you'd only got 2 vessels in your umbilical cord. Most babies have 3. What they didn't tell us was that because you'd only got 2, normally it's 1 vessel in and 2 out. So the umbilical cord is getting rid of all the stuff it doesn't want. You'd only got 1 vessel getting the stuff out, and that meant your kidneys were dilated and you were in a bit of a mess, really. So anyway, Professor Nicolades said, I think it's either going to be a rare genetic condition that none of us have ever heard of, or with the kidneys it might be a small plumbing job that we need to fix as soon as the baby's born. He assured us that it wasn't Downs or Edwards syndrome because of the shape of your head and the shape of your body in the womb. So the great day came when you were born 21 years ago, and well, an amazing event. It was you are my first child.
Yeah.
It was your mum's first child. A brilliant day. But it was obvious when you were born there was something different. I won't say not quite right, but there was just something different. So we didn't know what it was, and the hospital didn't know what it was, and it took a little while. After a few days, they gave you a blood test and they discovered that you got this extra chromosome number 8. That other question you had for me, how does my faith help me with the impact of your condition? It's very, very important actually, because going right back to the beginning, I was mentioning in the other time we talked about what happened when they discovered that you'd got these extra things within you. And I remember when the scanographer said there were 2 signs, if you like, of some abnormality, as he put it, which was you had a 2-vessel umbilical cord and also your kidneys were dilated. And he wanted you straight away, or wanted your mum, to have what's called the amniotic test, which would find out whether there was some genetic disorder with you before you were born. In which case, he would have recommended a termination. And in fact, I think he was going to try and recommend a termination anyway, because he could just see from this that there was something that wasn't going to be, in his opinion, quite right. Now, I reacted to that. I mean, I didn't have a scout uniform on, but I did have a clerical collar like this. So he could see that I was a man of faith. He could see that I was a Christian. And to me, the sanctity of life is paramount. And what does it matter if somebody has something that's slightly different from somebody else? Should that be a reason why they should be denied the chance to live? I'm very glad, Lydia, that we didn't deny you the right to live, because look at what you've done, look at what you've achieved. It's been absolutely fantastic. We are incredibly proud of you. But I believed right from the word go that if God was in control, your life was important, your life was special. And it didn't matter if there was some blip in the system, it didn't matter if there was a glitch in your genetic makeup. You were going to live. I was determined to see that happen. And you did. And yes, of course, the doctors discovered that you had this genetic condition, but it hasn't prevented you from achieving all the things that you do. And I think it's wonderful that you're here. So, faith, yes, very important, very strong. And I'm glad it's something that you share too.
So I'm now recording. Could you please introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Lisette Lent, and I this is Maggie Lent, and Maggie will be 13 on the 13th. And Maggie has trisomy 8 mosaicism. We live in Mesa, Arizona, United States.
So when did you first become aware that Maggie had trisomy 8? Was it during like the initial scans, or was it like after she was born?
It was after she was born, but we did know when I was 17 weeks pregnant. I went in for my initial just routine ultrasound to find out, the measurements of the baby and to find out the sex of the baby. And at that point, the doctors, the ultrasound tech, was taking a long time during the ultrasound, and she kept scanning back the brain, the kidneys, the heart, and
Yeah, okay.
the ultrasound took a really long time. And so we knew that there was complications. We were told initially that they thought she had what was called Dandy Walker. Um, and so during the pregnancy, very early on, we knew that there was complications. But after she was born, when she was about 2 days old, the geneticist came to the hospital and looked at her, and based on, her appearance, said, I think it has something to do with the eighth chromosome. So we found out shortly after Maggie was born, probably about 3 months after the Curo testing and all that was done, what her actual diagnosis was.
So the next question I wanted to ask really was like, how did the diagnosis like impact you and your family? Because I know that Maggie had a few siblings, and obviously I guess they were excited that you were going to have a baby, but also I suppose nervous at the same time, like you were, that she could have complications and stuff. And
Yes. So Maggie has 3 older siblings. She has an older brother, 2 older brothers, and an older sister. And we were really, honestly, we were kind of done having babies, and she was a surprise. And so we were a little shocked. Obviously, when we found out, we were very excited, and we were like, okay, we're going to have another baby. This will be baby number 4. Um, when we got the news that there was going to be complications, they told us that if Maggie survived the pregnancy at all, that she would most likely have some severe mental, physical disabilities, and that she would most likely be blind, deaf, may never walk, may never talk. Um, and so, of course, we were devastated. Were we were taken back very much, and I had another little baby that was only about a year old, her older brother Noah, and my heart was grieved by that, because I knew that that would impact his childhood as well. But we just we leaned into our faith, and we leaned into knowing that her life had meaning and value no matter what it looked like. So, I was living in a lot of fear and scared. And then she was born, and she has defied every single doctor's expectations.
so I just wanted to give a bit of my perspective about how I've felt over the last 21 years, and like how my disability had affected me as well as my parents and siblings. And at times I've really sort of doubted, like, why do I have a disability, and like, why do none of my friends or any of my siblings have a disability either, which was kind of spiteful in a way, but I just didn't really understand why I was different to everybody else, and that did really affect me mentally, and because none of the doctors really knew how many years I would live, sort of thing. So it's been a really interesting 21 years to see how I've developed and how I've grown, and like what the future holds. Well, I'm hoping that I'll have a long and happy life, but because of the not much is known about my genetic condition, because it's so rare. Dear future Lydia, I hope you are well and enjoying your pathway in life. I just wanted to say that although you are found university like really stressful at times, you smashed it, and I hope your achievements reflect that. You don't have to be exactly the same as everyone else to still be successful, and I know that you have struggled in the past with this, not only at university, but with your disability as well. You can do it. I believe in you. Don't let disability hold you back. You are amazing. Lydia from the past, 21 years old.